I'm going to turn this over to them. Let's give them the most attention, okay, guys?
All right, good morning, good morning. Thanks so much for being here today. I know you're kind of forced to be here, but we appreciate you taking the public safety class. I think it's a great resource for you guys to explore maybe some careers down the road, and I love that for you. Anybody interested in being a firefighter? Okay, cool. I love it, yeah. Awesome. Well, fire off those questions to us anytime during our presentation. I enjoy interaction. I enjoy discussion. I do have a PowerPoint, but it's kind of for your knowledge. I usually just kind of chit chat. I think that's a better way to engage you guys anyway. So my name's Hillary, firefighter Beaird, and then my partner here is firefighter Miller, or Maggie. We actually got hired on the same day, so that our story kind of begins that way. And she was a paramedic, I was not, so I can kind of go through like what my story is, and then she'll kind of start sharing her short story as well, and then how we made it through Fire Academy together, and all the fun things. It's really awesome that we're both on an ambulance today together. She just got moved to our shift a few months ago, so we're happy to work together, and I think that's an awesome thing. It's also nice to have another presentator up here with me today, which is really cool. So I guess my story kind of begins. I went to school here, graduated in 2010, lots of years ago. So when I was here, I was big into sports. Scott Linebaugh, who's kind of Kyle Peterson. I know some of you guys that are probably in sports might know Kyle. Yeah. Scott was my Kyle. And so I was like, yeah, I really want to be an athletic trainer, and that's what I went off to college to do. I went to Central College. Got my 4-year degree in athletic training. My big dreams were to work for NASCAR, and I needed some experience to do that, so I moved back home, and then here I've been. So when I got hired at the hospital to be an athletic trainer, I was contracted to Minneapolis High School. So I was there for 8 years, where I was doing what Kyle does here. I was on the sidelines of sporting events, checking out injuries, making sure that everybody was doing well. If they got an injury, then we'd rehab them back to normal. My second part of my job there was a fitness specialist, so like strength and conditioning coach. I have a certification in that as well. Part of that job actually sent me to the fire station, which is really cool. We were there 3 times a week, and we would put on their workout programs. So when I would do that, I would go down. I was assigned there probably about once a week, and I got to meet the guys. They became some of my best friends, actually. We'd start hanging out on the weekends, and it was a really good, they were just great people.
Let me tell you, I went through her workout program. She tortures you.
That was back in my heyday of making really good workouts. Now yes, those were fun. So with that being said, I did all their workouts, and then I kind of got to meet them. Then 2020 hit, and we were all affected in 2020 by some sort of COVID year, right? So my job at the hospital kind of changed roles, and it was unclear as to if athletic training would be a thing in the future. And so I'm not going to say I was out looking for a job. That's not at all what it was. I enjoyed my job. I'm still employed at the hospital doing that job. So one of my friends that I had met, he was like, hey, we're opening up the requirements to somebody that doesn't have any fire, any EMS experience. You should put in your application. And I literally laughed at him. I remember my Snapchat back was ha ha ha, and like big letters. Like there's no way I can do that. Either you can't even imagine me going into a burning building. And he was like, we can train you to do that. And I was like, I doubt it. I knew I would like the EMS side. I knew I would love going on 911 calls. I knew that. But at first I was not about being a firefighter, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Then I got kind of looking into it. It was just enough to start turning my wheels, to thinking, okay, maybe I can do this. And then I was like, jumped 2 feet in, and I was full on committed from that point. And we took the physical test that day. Her and I were there that day together as well. We took our physical test, then a written test, and then our interviews, and then all of a sudden I was talking to Chief Trexel about a job. And I will tell you guys, I was nervous as all get out to enter this career, because I just didn't know about it. I just didn't understand what it would be like to run into burning buildings. With that being said, I had zero experience, right? I came in with nothing. So they sent me to EMT school, and then they sent me to fire academy, and then they sent me to paramedic school. So they invested a lot into me, the city of Burlington. I'm thankful for that experience because they paid for my schooling. A lot of things they invested into me, into a chance to be able to do my job. So I've been a paramedic for a little over a year and a half, and then I've been a firefighter for 3 years. So now that I'm on this side of it, I can't express how much I love it. We'll go into the benefits and all of that. I was just going to share my story and how I got to be where I am today, and that if you're nervous about fighting fires, it's okay. They train you, and like I said, I'll talk about all that in a second, but it's been a great 3.5 years so far, so I'm thankful for the opportunity. But I'll hand it over to Maggie. She can kind of share her side.
All right, so it's actually kind of funny. Our stories are pretty similar. I graduated from New London High School in 2009, and I was also like a 4-sport athlete, loved the aspect of teamwork, whatnot. I went to college in Colorado. I have a bachelor's degree in anthropology. Actually, I don't know if anybody knows what that is. But I moved back here, and I had my first kid, got married, and I was working at a pharmacy technician. So you get sick, go to the doctor, they call in your prescription. I was the person that filled your prescription. And that just got to be really mundane and boring. I didn't like that every single day was the exact same. And I just thought to myself, I can't picture myself doing this for 30 years. I'll die of boredom. So it was my husband actually who suggested a career in EMS, Emergency Medical Services, just starting out as an EMT. And I was like, oh, well, that's a good idea. So I went back to college and got licensed as an EMT. And I wanted to work as an EMT for a little bit, but my teacher in college said, why don't you go ahead and get your paramedic degree? So I went ahead and jumped right into the paramedic class. Well, during the paramedic class, I was also pregnant, so that was a huge thing that I had to deal with. But I still wasn't working at the fire department. Went through class, had another baby, and my teacher kind of mentioned that I might get along with the guys at the fire department. And I was kind of like, that's ridiculous. I've never thought about that before in my life. I'm not doing that. And so when you finish your paramedic class, you do what they call ride time. So you go to local departments, Burlington Fire Department. There's an ambulance out of Henry County you can go ride at, Lee County. So I chose to go to Burlington, and I started doing my ride time there as a paramedic. And so keep in mind, all I wanted to do, kind of like Hillary, like I wanted to do the paramedic side, the medicine, help people like that. And as I started doing my ride time, some of the guys started talking to me about the career and how I should be a firefighter. And once again, similar to Hillary, I laughed at them. No, that's not happening. Like, I didn't entertain the thought at all. Well, then towards the end of my ride time, the chief started talking to me too, like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit. You should submit an application. Like, why not? And like we said, we'll talk about some of the benefits that kind of swayed me to give this a shot. But I did give it a shot, and I had my baby, finish up paramedic class, and then I was told there was a fitness test, so I trained a little bit for the fitness test, took the test the same day as Hillary. I failed the first time I took it.
I failed the first time I took it too.
Oh, that's true. Well, yeah. Well, okay. So that was kind of disheartening, but I just went home, worked out again for another week, and took it again and passed. Had the written test, whatnot, and got offered the job and accepted it. And here we are once again. I've been a paramedic for 2.5 years. Right, about a year longer than you.
Yeah, you're about 3 years.
3 years, sure. Okay, so I've been a firefighter paramedic for about 3 years now. We'll have our 4th year on in September. Yeah, that's how we got where we are right now.
Yeah. Any questions about that? Anybody else hesitant to run into burning buildings? Because that was our story for sure, 100%. So what is a career in firefighting look like? Okay. 1.3 million firefighters in the United States. Only 350,000 of those are career firefighters, and that's what Burlington Fire Department is. So if you look around at our Des Moines County, we'll say, you've got Burlington Fire Department, and we're career. We get paid to show up every third day. You look at West Burlington, they get paid to show up on call. So the fire codes drop right now, and they come in, they get paid a wage for that. Then you have your volunteer services. You have volunteer services over in Henderson County is somebody I just thought of, but they don't get paid at all. They wear their pagers and they wake up and to their pagers and they go on these EMS calls, these fire calls, out of the goodness of their heart. Okay, so that's huge. We're thankful for those people as well. So I'll let Maggie kind of talk on the benefits of why we kind of chose this career, because it's a good one, but the benefits are incredible. They're second to none. And it's hard to understand that at your age as I'm sitting here talking to you, but how important these are nowadays is pretty critical.
Yeah. So as a high school student, you're probably not thinking much about, insurance, I need insurance, I need a good retirement plan, I need all these things. But then one day you get a little bit older and you might have kids, you might not, you might get married, you might not. But for me, I found out that the city covers about $1,600 a month for our insurance plan. So I have 6 kids total, 2 stepkids and 4 of my own. I pay $60 out of my pocket every month for insurance, which is insane to think about. A lot of other people are dropping close to $1,600. That's just one of the benefits of being a city employee. You start out about $45,000 a year. And as you get more certifications and stuff, you earn more money. So like paramedic, as you become a paramedic, your pay jumps up. And you can move up through the ranks, lieutenant, captain, battalion chief, and each little one is a jump up. Your retirement, you put in a certain amount out of your paycheck, and then the city also will match that and they add more. So you're looking at a really good retirement plan, and by the time you retire, you'll be able to take care of yourself and your family with the money you've invested. That's another really important thing.
And I'll state on that, so the pension board, it pays you, they give you a paycheck every month, just like you normally get paid. And that's not money you saved. Like if you, of course you can have different savings accounts too, but the pension board will send you a check every month when you retire, just for being what you are. Yes, we put into the pension system, but it's not your money that you saved. And it's important to save your own money. But yeah, exactly. That's a huge difference between police and fire and some other system. If I worked at the hospital, every paycheck I was putting in X amount of dollars just to save for retirement, and that wouldn't have been enough. Like my financial advisor, you stretch it out for the next 50 years, there's no way I could have survived. I would have had to have another job and another job and another job, and I'd have to work until I was 80 years old. So that is huge. That pension system is incredible. We can retire at the age of 55, so that's huge. Sorry.
No, you're good. So that's a little bit about that. Some people ask me about the work schedule. So we work 24 hours on and then 48 hours off. Some people say, how do you do that with your family? But for me, I'm working 24 hours, so I'm gone, but they're in school or daycare. If I was at a normal job, I'd be gone probably from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then I'd get to see my kids maybe 3 hours before they went to bed. So for me, I don't get that day with them, but then I get the next 2 days with them all day. I help get them ready for school. I cook their dinner. I get to be with my youngest, are 3 and 1, so I take care of them on my days off. I have a lot of time to accomplish a lot of things, and when I worked a 9-to-5 job, it didn't feel like I had time, because every day, you work 9 to 5, you go home, you cook, you go to bed, 9 to 5, you cook, you go to bed. So here, I go to work at 8, I stay until 8 the next morning, but then I'm free for 48 hours until I go back in. I know for me, I don't have a second job because I feel like my kids are a second job. Well, they're my first job, but it's a lot of work. But a lot of these other guys and girls have second jobs. Like Hillary mentioned, she still works at the hospital, still does some athletic training. One guy does like car detailing, chimney cleaning, moving services. A lot of these people have a second job because you feel like you have that time, and with those 2 days off, you can even have another income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots of, the job's different every day. That's the very last bullet point there. So we're on an ambulance today, but that's not to say that a fire that kicks out, we'll be driving the ladder truck and going in and fighting that fire. So every day it looks something different. And I love that. That keeps me coming back every day, because I love the fun of not knowing what we're gonna get into today. So the daily task. What do we do as a firefighter when we show up in the mornings? We get to work about 7:30, and we don't relieve our people until about 8 o'clock. Our shift starts at 8 a.m. And right at 8 a.m. we sit down and we have a morning meeting. We chat about the schedule for the day. We were on the schedule for coming here today. So they just run through the list of things that we're doing, and any shortcomings that they see, anything that we're doing in air that we need to do better at, or anything we're doing good at. It's just a nice way to kind of start the day. You start your day with your best friends, and to have a good day is a good critical part of that. When we leave that morning meeting, we check in our trucks. So we are assigned an ambulance today, and then we make sure that our air packs are good. All of our equipment that we wear going into a fire is our lifeline. We have to check that out every morning and make sure that it's working, because obviously if it's not, and I run into a burning building and I don't have any oxygen, that's on me. I didn't check my air pack correctly, okay? And now it's her problem because I screwed up, and now I'm incapacitated, and poor Maggie has to pull me out. So we take that very seriously, checking in all of our equipment. Same thing on the ambulance. We go through and we make sure that all of our equipment is up to standard, up to code. So if we have to use something, that it's all in working order, and that's an expectation of the day. And then we get to do our fun station chores. What did we do this morning? It's kind of the same thing. You make sure that everything's clean, bathrooms are clean. We made sure that officers' vehicles were clean this morning. Each day of the week we have a different task to accomplish, making sure that everything is, once again, just up to standard, making sure that everything's clean. It is our house too, so since we're there for 24 hours, we want to make sure that our house is clean as well. So station chores aren't always as fun, but we were talking on our way here, like, hey, cool, we've got all of our morning stuff done, like the rest of our day is ours. So we just make sure that we crank through all that morning stuff, and then we're good to go. The second part of the afternoons, we usually have training. So you might see us out and about with all of our trucks and our ladder truck up in the air and flowing water, and we're training. We're making sure that all of our company members are working together, that everything's going really smoothly, so in case that we do get a fire, we're all on the same page. Training is very important, and we train on all sorts of different things. Sometimes it can be like hazmat, so let's say a fuel leaks. We can sit and talk and work with our hazmat materials for 2.5 hours. And then training's really important. We value that. We value that time. Our most recent big thing that we've been doing is down firefighters. So what do we do if a firefighter goes down in a building? How are we going to get them up and down stairs? How are somebody like Maggie and I going to get our bigger guys up and downstairs? You know, like, how do we work efficiently? And we practice those same things too, because it's just different when we're all in our bunker gear and we all weigh 100 pounds more than what we look like we're weighing with that gear on. So training's huge. I like to work out in the afternoons as well. That's something I do on my free time, and I enjoy that. It's important for me to be functionally fit for my job, and it's a good stress reliever for me too. Like, lets me check out of my day. Obviously still being ready to respond, but check out, kind of chill out, get my workout in, and relax for the day. On top of all that, we run ambulance calls. So Maggie and I will, anytime a ambulance call kicks out in our station, that's what we do. We'll hop in the ambulance, go on our call, take the patient to the hospital, come back, run the next ambulance call. With that being said, I'm gonna stay away from a lot of the EMS side, but we'll come back and we do charts. So then we have to document everything that we did with that patient, what was correct, what was incorrect. It's all correct. But just making sure that everything is documented that you did with that job. So sometimes we got some paperwork to do.
And I'll just tag on to what she was talking about, daily expectations and like daily life there. We both mentioned that we are part of a team, so I know some of you guys are athletes or in choir, band, or whatever. It's hard to get that like teamwork feeling back after you've graduated. It was something I really missed. But working at the fire department, that's my team, that's my family. You have to think, we're going inside of burning buildings. I know we keep saying that, but it's kind of a crazy thing. And I have to trust Hillary 100% that like, if something goes wrong with me, she can take care of me. If something goes wrong with her, I can take care of her. It's the most amount of teamwork and trust you'll have your entire lives. I want to get back to my family. She wants to get back to her family. You know, we're there for each other. I trust her with my life, and it's just something, it's hard to explain, but I think one of the parts that makes going to work easy is, you know, we do our daily stuff. Well, then we sit down to lunch and we sit down together and we talk maybe about hard calls that we've had or funny calls or whatnot, but you're sitting down with your family. And I think that part of it makes all the hard calls and stuff worth it, because you're coming back and regrouping and talking with people and airing it out. And these people, you have to think, you spend a third of your life with. So they become like family, which makes coming to work easy in the morning. I'm not dreading it because I'm with my second family.
Okay, so how can you kind of get involved in firefighting? What does that look like maybe for you at this point in time? I bet McIntyre or Lieutenant Walters talked about joining an Explorer post, but I do like to just throw that out there too. Our Explorer program is a good one. I'm thankful for it. Captain Howard is on our shift, and he's the one that gets everybody involved. You can ride with us, you can come in for fire call-ins. There's a lot of things those Explorers get to do. That at least you can see what we do on a daily basis, and if it's something you're interested in, definitely hit up Captain Howard at that email address, and I see it's over there too. So hit it up if that's something you are interested in. We'd love to have you. It would be great. You can also join a volunteer fire department. That's another good stepping stone to look into firefighting, see if that's something you want to do. Always working on your physical fitness. It's a physically demanding job when you are on air, when you're working on air. Your cardiac output, this is me nerding out, your cardiac output increases significantly. Your blood almost turns into a viscosity level, a consistency level of motor oil. Okay, so like if you just get a cut, you know how your blood kind of looks pretty thin and pretty milky. When we're working hard on a fire scene, our hearts are working 3 times as hard as a normal individual is just working out. And that's because the heat of our gear, everything that is involved in firefighting, it just turns your blood into a thicker viscosity, making your heart work harder, your heart rate go up, your blood pressure go up. So the more you can be physically fit now, the more you can have those long-lasting habits of being fit to be a firefighter as well. We were kind of talking about how our education, we both have 4-year degrees. That was the path of our worlds. Right now you can graduate in 18, or even maybe start taking classes, the evening EMT classes. You can do that out at SEC. You can start that right now. You don't have to have a 4-year degree to become a firefighter. You can go to those 2-year degree over here. It's just nice to have a degree, but you don't even necessarily have to do that. Okay. To work at Burlington, you have to be 18 years and have a valid driver's license. So those are kind of the stipulations we have, but that means the more schooling you go to, the EMT, paramedic, firefighting, AA degree that you have, the better off you look on resumes and on a piece of paper. But that's not to say that it's not an option for you. Yeah, if it's something you think that you're willing to get into, and it's always better to kind of see if it's something that you would like first. Not, like I said, I jumped in with 2 feet because I had been around those guys. I'd kind of been around, I kind of saw what they did. Once again, very hesitant about the firefighting part, but from there, I jumped in with both feet. But if you're kind of interested in it, it's always a good idea to maybe get a job at a EMS service. Superior at the hospital is EMS, Lee County, Henry County. Those EMS services are another option too. Oh, clean driving and criminal records. Kind of smart because you're at the age of being a new driver. Try to put your phones down. Be a good driver. Be cognizant. Be aware. You don't want something that happens at the age of 16 to affect your career at the next step, right? So being smart today, being smart tomorrow, putting your phones down, not getting into accidents, not doing anything criminal. Another good thing that you can start to do today that makes sure that you set yourself up for success down the future.
So we kind of talked about this too, but if you're looking to get into this, the steps that you would have to take to do it is you submit your resume to the fire department. From there, you take a physical test. When you pass the physical test, you sit down for a written test. From there, you'll get you'll interview. So we have interviews coming up. I think they're interviewing 23 candidates. You sit with a board of like the chief, deputy chief, fire marshal, someone representing the union, which we can touch on in a little bit, and just some other people that want to be on the hiring board. So that can be kind of intimidating to walk into an interview and be sitting in front of 6 important people. We got kind of lucky for our interviews. Well, I felt lucky. It was COVID, so we couldn't be in person. So I did my interview over Zoom, which was a lot less intimidating for me than walking into a room full of people and speaking in front of them. And then after you do your interviews, they'll do background checks. And from there, they'll start offering positions.
Yep. And it sounds like if you guys take the advanced class, that you guys will do our actual physical fitness test, which is it's a tough test. You have to complete it in 7 minutes and 5 seconds.
7
Is that what they're saying? 7
I have
minutes?
no idea what
7
that
seconds?
is.
7 seconds, we just went over.
Oh, okay, got it.
Cheat in 2 seconds.
Sorry, yeah.
No, that's
Oh,
fine.
7
I
minutes,
needed.
7
I think I passed in 7.5. That's probably what I'm saying. It was right by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
That's all right, when I passed the police department round, I finished it in 2 seconds, like, I had to stop a few twice.
Oh my gosh, funny. But yeah, you do the stair climber, and you do. Sounds like you guys already know what's up though, so I'll go into that.
You got to watch your video that you guys have out there on YouTube.
Yes, it is out on YouTube. Burlington Fire Department CPAT test.
Yeah.
It's our firefighter Zurita is doing it. Firefighter Zurita was a baseball player for the minor leagues, and actually had a chance to go pro, and then unfortunately he was sick and was unable to do that. We are very thankful for firefighter Zurita, but you'll see him on that video. Okay, so what does a career in firefighting look like if you're not here at Burlington Fire Department? It's very trendy with the rest of the world. So there's a lot of availability for firefighters. So the growth is high, but it's slightly below average because it's a stand-alone career, meaning it's been here, it's been around in the world for lots and lots of years. So it's everybody knows that firefighters exist. Everybody knows that, yep, I want to be a firefighter, or firefighting is something that you could kind of look into a little bit later down the road. But So it's not something like artificial intelligence that is like super high growth rate right now. Is that it's a very average, a little bit slightly below average on that growth rate. There is strong competition for jobs. Like Firefighter Miller was saying, we have 23 applicants right now. We are thankful for that at the fire department. The police department isn't always as lucky to get even that many people to test. So we are thankful for that opportunity to get some more good people in. But that does mean that there's strong competition for those jobs. Yeah, we were talking, we started about $45,000 a year, and then there's always advancement opportunities. So once you get your paramedic, that increases your pay rate, and then going up the ladder. So Lieutenant Walters was in here. He just got promoted to lieutenant in August, September. So he's kind of climbing that ladder a little bit. We have another position opening for a lieutenant. So there's another opportunity to kind of advance up that career ladder a little bit. Other occupations, so within especially here at Burlington, I can speak on that pretty because I know it very well, but you can go off into be a fire marshal position. We're even looking at having a training officer position. So there's other jobs that you can do within the fire service that include inspections. It includes going to different buildings and making sure that we have pre-plans of those buildings and making sure that we know what to do if a building catches on fire. There's already a pre-plan. We know where those things are, where those are at. The training officer could be in charge of all of our training, making sure that we're all on the same page, making sure that our training's top notch, and that we are ready to roll. If you guys have any questions, feel free to write down my email address. I'm happy to answer them. We're happy to answer them now as well. I was going to share a little bit on our Fire Academy story. So we got the opportunity to go to Fire Academy together, and I would have been lost without Firefighter Miller.
It's a new requirement. They just started it with the person they hired before us. Everyone that gets hired at Burlington has to go to the 7-week academy. It's called IFSI. It's in Champaign, Illinois. And so, yeah, that's a little background. It's something new the department's looking at so they can train everyone to the same level. Sorry.
Yep, thank you for that. So that's a huge sacrifice for Maggie. She's got 6 kids at home and a family. I'm just gonna talk her up right now. Like when we did our test, she was 4 weeks postpartum, 3 weeks postpartum?
3 months.
Okay, so 12 weeks postpartum, but still. And she passed that physical fitness test with no problem. That second time, like it took me that first time to be like, okay, I know what to do now. I can get it next week. And we had a very similar experience that way. So she crushes it, you guys. She's strong. She's awesome. And if we didn't have that at the Fire Academy, we got to room together, like just that teamwork. Mm-hmm. And you lean on your best friends when times get hard. And over there, times are very hard. And not that I've never been to the military boot camp, and I can't say that it's identical to that because I can't speak on that. But that's what it would kind of go back to. The instructors would say, this is very military-esque, you know. They'd light a fire in the middle of the building, and then we're all doing 10 push-ups, moving, 10 arm claps, moving around this fire in our gear. And
in your gear, and have your pack on, you're on air, it's smoky, you can't see, it's hot. You'll never experience heat like you will at the academy, because they said if it's as hot as it is in the buildings they're training you in, you shouldn't be in that building to fight fire because something's not right. So at the academy they train you in such a hot environment that you'll probably never be in again. And if you're in it again in real life and not in like a controlled building or situation, you're probably in trouble. You've probably gone in too deep, it's too hot, the fire's somewhere you can't find. The heat you feel at Fire Academy, it burned some of us through our gear. We would get little bubbles and blisters from just how hot they would have the fires going in there.
Helmets melted. Our fire experience was crazy, but that's where we learned to become a firefighter, you guys. That experience is second to none. once we both said that we were hesitant to run into buildings, I would love it. Right now, if there was unfortunately, this is very sad for somebody, if there was a structure fire right now, we'd be like, yeah, let's go, like both her and I, you know, and that kind of goes back to that team. Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush. I thrive on adrenaline for sure. That's something, another part of our personalities, I guess. But when we were both saying at the very beginning that we weren't for sure if we could fight fire, that place, that 7 weeks there, made it so I enjoy fighting fire. I feel comfortable in fires. I feel trained in fires. I feel like I know what to look for in the environment. If it's going to be a situation that could put anybody in danger, I know what that is. I feel like I can go into a fire, do my job well, put the fire out, continue on. So yes, the 7 weeks of academy, we would limp around and our bodies were broken, our bodies were exhausted, had burns, our helmets were melted, yes, all of the terrible things. But coming out of that 7 weeks, I am confident that I could run into any building, help anybody out inside that building that I can. I feel confident. Now I love that firefighting side of me. Now that I know what that's all about, I love it. It's an adrenaline rush. It's something I look forward to training in fire. I look forward to all of it. So, with that being said, don't be afraid. If you think this is something that you could do and you're like, oh, running into burning buildings, I'm here to tell you that you can do it, and you're going to love it, because that's where I ended at that 7 weeks. I felt like I could run into burning buildings, do a good job, come out safely.
I learned that I could do things I thought I never could, like just everything in general. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me. If I saw someone doing what I did at Academy, like climbing up a ladder 3 stories, you know, it's wiggling in the wind and you're just like, oh my God, you're in all your gear still, in your air pack, and you're just like, I can't do this. Like, they're clear up there. I did that. We practiced, like we said, with down firefighters. We practiced bringing people like me. So I would pretend to be a down firefighter. We practiced bringing us down ladders, 2 stories in the air. We practiced bailing out of windows, 2 stories in the air. It was really crazy.
Yeah, they made the fires in these buildings like really hard. So forcible entry is something that we work on. So we have to figure out how to get into a building if it's locked, right? So now Maggie and I, we can look at each other and know exactly what I want her to do, and that's something that's really impressive. But what they would do is these 4x4s. I don't even have an example of what a 4x4 is, but it's like a big block of wood, and they'd shove it in this door, and they would expect you to break through it to open the door, while the fire on the other side just continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. So the longer it takes you to get in that door, that fire is going to be huge and hot by the time you get in there. And so that was something, just a part of the training. And now that, golly, I don't know, 20 of us from the fire department has gone to the academy and has had that experience, I can look at any one of those people and like, they know what I'm thinking, I know what they're thinking, and that's a really cool thing, you know, because we're trained the exact same way. Our older guys that didn't have to go to the academy or didn't go to the academy, I still trust them, that's not what I'm saying at all, but it's easier to work with somebody that's been to the academy, because we're trained the exact same way. We know if I say hit, she's gonna hit, and if I say, what's the one that keeps going? Doesn't matter. The other command that I usually say that I can't think of right now, she knows exactly what that means. So, advancing hose, like that's an efficient way that we advance hose, and sometimes our other guys don't always do that way. So, Fire Academy was a lot, but I couldn't have done it without her. And I know I said that even when she wasn't sitting here, so that was something that, once again, I didn't know if I could go into burning buildings. Now I love doing it, and it's a great spot. I feel like I'm doing the job I'm supposed to be doing. So
we touched on that. I know we asked if you had any questions, but now we're really done talking. So it'd be great if you had questions. We'd love to answer them. It's gonna be super random too, I swear.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even be mad.
So Heather, one of the next picture, the one she didn't show, that she's a little past to show.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to come back there, or do you want? Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So you've seen the same presentation before. Yeah. That's awesome. Adrian and I did this at SEC, and we took a picture with him.
Oh, nice.
Was that you in the picture? Yeah. I just brought my helmet in. I didn't bring all of my gear in, but it's just something I will pass around. Feel free. My light doesn't have a battery in it, so you can try and turn that on. But this is, it just kind of feels how like heavy some of our gear is, and this is just the one that goes right on our head. But our bunker gear with everything on is 76 pounds, I think. So between your pants, your boots, your coat, your hood, your mask, your helmet, and your air pack, it's 75 pounds in addition to like what I have right now. So everything just all of a sudden gets harder, right? Going up and down stairs. Walking gets harder. Walking on ice. Try that one. But how many times have I fallen on the ice? Several. Everything just gets a little bit harder when everything's a little bit heavier. So I'm gonna pass this around. I got a little bit of black stuff. I try to clean it, but sometimes it's.
So Hillary, can you tell a little bit about your family?
Yeah, of course. So my family background, like where I grew up here in Burlington. My dad, actually, we can this clear back to my grandpa. So my grandpa was a police chief in Keokuk. And then my dad was a police officer here in town and also became police chief when I was in college. And my brother is a sheriff's deputy. So I guess I hadn't spoke on this. Yeah, they're very cop oriented, right? A lot of things that I knew I could never be a cop, you guys. That was not, like I understand it's in my blood, but there's no way, that was not my personality. My dad knew it, my mom knew it, my brother knew it. We all knew that Hillary was not gonna be the cop of the family. She was not gonna be the one to carry on that lineages. But my brother loves it. He's very good at it. He's the K-9 handler for Des Moines County. He's an FTO out there, a field training officer. So very good at his job as well. Going back to the pension system, when I was pouring a ton of money into my retirement, and I'd go to home to have family dinner with all my family members, and Dad's talking about his pension check that he's getting, and Dylan's talking about his retirement check that he'll get, and I'm like, golly, this is, like, that's crazy, because I am spending a lot of money each month to save, and they're just getting these checks in the mail. So that was something that kind of made me think, oh, this would probably be a good idea for me. And then when I was like, I don't know if I could do that, those are the first two people I ran and talked to. Like I asked my dad, I asked my brother if they thought I could kind of handle this situation, you know, like the traumatic calls, the hard calls, being a firefighter. And I get crap all the time, you guys. Like my family is very like cop oriented, and like firefighters are the heroes, and all we do is sleep, and the jokes just go on and on and on and on and on. Because police officers and firefighters have always had this little like headbutt thing. But I have nothing but their full support. The minute I asked them if they thought I could do this job, they both said, yep, absolutely. You go and just go do your job. And that's how we get through kind of like the harder calls. You just show up, you do your job, and then go home from there. So yeah, I kind of forgot about that. I'm a little bit different from that family side of me for sure. But what do you think about that helmet? Heavy, yeah.
Are you single?
I am single.
You're single and you're married, and you have 6 kids.
Okay.
2 don't live at the house.
How does that
They're grown.
work with your husband? What's your husband do?
Right now he works from home.
How that works?
Yeah, so that really helps. Ever since COVID, he started working from home, and now he only looks for remote jobs. So that worked out well. That's how we manage the kids with my 24-hour shift.
How does it work with your single life?
It's wonderful. My old job, in athletic training, I would work 14, 16-hour days. A lot of times I'd go in and train my clients at 4 o'clock in the morning and then not get home until like 10 o'clock. That did put a strain on my relationship that I was in, for sure. And then I got to this job, and I thoroughly enjoy this schedule and having 24 on, 48 off, and knowing the consistency of it. I can tell you in November 15th of 2038 what I'm doing, if I'm working, if I'm not working, kind of thing. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that consistency in that schedule. How it's affected my home life. Right now that I am single, I enjoy my 2 days off, and I go do exactly what I want to do. My life has gotten from like busy to having no time to do anything, to breathe, eat, anything, to where I get to do whatever I want when I want. So the schedule has really freed up a lot of time for me. And I pick up games if I want to. I'm not on the go like I used to be. So this job has been very, very good for me, mentally, physically, all the things. Being females in the fire service, that's something, is another question that I would get sometimes. Our department's so good about it. I'm thankful, like she said, it feels like a second family. They give us nicknames all the time. Well, they just gave us but it's just because like we're family. We get along, we're friends, everybody's like good with us working there. And so it doesn't feel like that I'm a minority or anything. Like I feel like I fit in. And there's things that have had to change, and Maggie can speak on some more of those like maternity leave kind of things. But as far as being females in the fire service, Burlington Fire Department has done nothing but great things for us. I'm thankful that we get treated the way we do. It feels like we're just a part of the group. We're a part of, they don't look down on us and think that we can't do it.
We have the same standards as the guys. They don't lower the physical test that we take is the exact same as the physical test the guys take. They don't lower any standards, and they expect the same things from us as you would from a man, I guess.
Yeah, and it's crazy we talk about that, but yeah, I don't feel any ick in any of that. We do sleep. I guess we never really made it that point. So we do sleep at the fire station since we're there for 24 hours. We have our own little bedroom quarters, and I've always felt comfortable with that too. It's all good that way.
And she says that because it's guys and girls. We're all in the same room, but we have like little cubicles that the beds are in. So there's a guy sleeping to my right, there's a guy sleeping to my left, but like we're in cubicles. It feels private. I've never had any problems, and they've never had any problems. But that could be kind of weird for some people, like, oh, that's weird, I'm sleeping next to guys all night long, like, I don't know. But once again, it's not weird. They don't make it feel weird. They don't single you out for being a female, nothing. And I know at other departments, females have struggled with that, but at our department, they're really supportive. They like what females bring to the mix. So we just have different perspectives.
When you're sleeping, you like have one part of your uniform. like if the alarm goes off at night.
So everyone is a little bit different. So me, I just kind of like unbutton my pants and I sleep in my uniform because I'm like, I get cold, I take my shoes off. Basically, it's all I do. Whereas other people will like sleep in their underwear and no shirt. Some of the guys like completely get, naked except underwear and sleep like that. It's each person's preference how they sleep.
And then you wake up for your call and you just throw your pants, you just move as fast as you can. So we have goals to get out the door within 90 seconds for fire calls, 60 seconds for EMS calls. So what that means is knowing that's your call, getting out of bed, getting down to the ambulance bay all in 1 minute. And that's our standard, that's what our goals are. So we're always like, knowing those calls when they go off, that's the hard part in the middle of the night, is like which call's your call.
Are there different sounds played or?
So there's three different tones. One's for EMS, one's for fire, and then there's always the same tones, but then there's a long pause if West Burlington's involved. So, like, if you hear your EMS tone and then a long pause, you can assume that's station 3, which is out in West Burlington. If there's a fire tone and a big pause, that usually means that there's something big on fire, like a structure. So that usually gets your adrenaline going a little bit more. So those are the tones that at least get you going to think, and then you get your dispatch information. So then the dispatcher comes on and says, structure fire, flame smoke seen out of 134 South Central Avenue.
Do you guys have GPS on the trucks and that? Or?
We have an iPad when it's charged. No, we do have an iPad, and it will pull up through our software, our brick software. There's all sorts of softwares in the fire service, but one of the softwares is even going to pull up the structure that's on fire and give you kind of an idea, especially if it's a commercial building. Let's say, Pizza Ranch that goes up in flames. That flow program would show us right where our connectors are, like right where the fuel shut off is, the gas shut off, all of the stuff that we need to know. It'll pull it up on our iPad, so when we're on the way, we can see that information.
Where the closest hydrants would be to connect
So you're
to.
kind of studying it as you're going.
Yeah, yep. The driver's driving, the attendant's the one kind of looking at that. Yeah, yep. So it's your responsibility as the driver. I've always told my drivers this. It's your responsibility to know where you're going, how to get me to the hospital, and then how to get me back home. So hopefully it takes, especially our new guys, it takes a little bit of time to learn your streets. Even growing up here, that was tough for me. And I could tell you the main streets, but I'm just now kind of getting to know my cutoffs and all of that kind of stuff. So
One's over by the big tree.
Landmarks.
That's
Yeah.
it. Landmarks. Big tree.
Yep.
You learn landmarks, you don't learn addresses.
The church here.
Yep, exactly. So, it's really nice to have the attendant there to kind of be like, okay, turn right or turn left, or, you know, I'm thankful for that too.
Mhm.
And I try to be that when I'm over on that side too. We're kind of running out of time. Anybody have any other questions?
You get all your questions answered?
Does anybody want to be a firefighter now? Yeah.
Convinced you.
Yeah, hit up Captain Howard too, if you want to do that.
That's scary.
So we have an Explorer riding today, and she's hanging out at the fire station, and she'll go in the fire truck for anything. So that would be what you would do today if you were. What makes it scary?
I just
Okay.
feel like
But you know what, you'll get over that fear.
Once you get to know people, yeah, like, cause like Hillary knew people, but like I felt awkward when I first started because I didn't know anyone, but like I said, they're really friendly and they'll make you feel at home when you're riding. So don't let that stop you.
And Captain Howard's so kind. He's like the most
He
kind
is the
human.
nicest guy in the world.
Yeah. So he will make you feel welcome. But if he doesn't, feel free to write my email address down, and then I can get you on the truck with me a day. I would be happy if you would that would make you feel more comfy.
All right, guys, let's give it up for him. What do you say?